How do we pursue all our dreams with only 24 hours in a day?
How do we learn to love ourselves despite all of our flaws?
How do we strive to be better when perfection can't really be attained?
Hello, madams!
It's your internet Atis again, answering your questions and figuring out our own answers as we go along.
I am Rizza LANA-SEBASTIan.
I am Bernos.
And you're listening to the Bootcamp for Grown-Ups in Progress,
Camp Confidence.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bootcamp for Grown-Ups in Progress, Camp Confidence! So this episode, madam, it will be a bit different. Kasi as we would know, by this time of the year, marami ng mga pageantry applicants.
Marami nang ganap sa pageantry world.
Marami nang ganap sa pageantry world. And we would like to dedicate this episode to pageantry. And of course, ang dami kong curious questions about the good things and the not so good things about pageantry. So, ang episode na to, mga madam, is going to be medyo an interview with Madam Ayin. Nag-Miss Universe 2021 si Madam Ayin and finished at top 60.
Yes!
Oh my gosh, sobrang excited. Can I just say sobrang proud? Kasi I've witnessed your journey, Madam Ayin, from talagang nag-hesitate ka. Ay, hindi ka pala nag-hesitate.
Hindi ako nag-hesitate.
Oo. Sinabi niya sa akin, Madam, nag-send ako ng application. Tapos hanggang sa yung dun sa na-accept ka. And I feel like, it's a journey worth sharing sa madamhoods natin right now.
Thank you so much. And sinadya kong hindi mag-participate or like mag-brainstorm sa topic na to para very spontaneous. And machika ko talaga sa inyo because it's such a different world. Pageantry is so niche na up until, even though I've been a fan my whole life, when I was there for the first time, dun ko lang siya naintindihan for its entirety. So, I'm excited to deep dive para rin sa mga aspiring pageanteros out there and anybody who's just interested in this national sport.
Oh, actually, it is. It is. Kasi hindi lang siya physical, talagang mental, emotional sport siya eh.
Yeah, and talagang the preparations and what the beauty queens go through, it's really crazy. So, yeah, I'm excited for this conversation.
So, Miss Bernos.
Rosane Marie Bernos.
Rosane Marie Bernos. Philippines. Question number 1. Ayan. What can you say about the whole experience? Can you walk us through, in general, kung kamusta yung experience mo with MUP?
It was very enlightening because, like I said a while ago, I've been a fan ever since I could remember. As in, nanood ako, yung una kong pageant na napanood, yung time ni Miriam Kiambao, which was quite a while back. Tapos, I've been really engrossed in these shows na talagang invested ako. Last night, actually, before we recorded this, I watched a pageant. I was up until 1 a.m. watching a pageant. So it's been crazy how it's been such a big part of my life. And then when I got to join mink.ph, which was in 2021, so 2 years ago, talagang na-open yung doors ko to so many opportunities. But at the same time, it allowed me to live the dream. My dream was to be able to do the pasarela, to do a swimsuit competition, evening gown, and finally to do yung mga closed door interviews and really show off my Q&A skills, if I would say so myself. Pero ayun, I mostly enjoyed the sisterhood. Like, one of my favorite things about Miss Universe Philippines was the bond that we had and just being able to see how we are evolving as a country, as an industry, and how many more women are allowed these amazing and life-changing opportunities.
I love it. I cannot imagine kung ano yung mga pinagdadaanan nyo, whether nakikita siya ng camera or not. So, can you talk more about Can you tell us more about the training process? So, ayan na. Ay, or siguro application process muna. Yun muna. So, kung gusto nyong, if you're a pageantera, ano yung tips na pwede mong masabi sa kanila? Yung process maybe.
Yung application process was all online because it was in the middle of the pandemic, naka-lockdown pa lahat. So, basically, what you need is a citizenship sa Philippines. You need to be dun sa age range. At that time, it was 18 to 28 years old. Tapos, so yung mga documents mo, birth certificate, etc. But you also need photos. That's one of the things that I wasn't prepared for kasi wala akong glam photos. So I would say if you want to get into it, sa application pa lang, kailangan naghahanda ka na ng mga official photos mo or like your portraits, ganyan. So, one of the things na you need is a good natural portrait that will just show off your face. So, parang minimal makeup, pero yung kita-kita yung mukha mo, your smile. But also, you should have a glam photo shoot, which is yung naka-evening gown, ganyan. You also need, ideally, a swimwear na, or basta kita yung full body mo, full body picture. Eh ako, I didn't have a lot of photo shoots back then kasi hindi pa naman ako full-time content creator. Wala pa naman ako experience sa pageantry. So, yung mga sinubmit kong photos, madam, nako, as in talagang, it's a no. So, if you are wanting to get into pageantry, I would say, before you even apply, get a team together. Maghanap kayo ng photographer who can help you out, stylist, makeup artist, yes, hairstylist. Huwag niyo sarilinin because when you DIY stuff, hindi siya masyado fun and it's not the optimal na ano, especially since it's so competitive. So that's one thing I would change. Ngayon, they've been doing screenings in person. So it's actually, I think it's a great thing and also, but at the same time, medyo mas may pressure ngayon because you can't do it quietly.
Correct.
Nakaabang yung bloggers, so they see people who are walking in and submitting their applications in person. So I think it's a good opportunity to really show how confident you are kasi sometimes you can't show that through a photo. But minsan, iba yung personality mo in person. So, if you are applying in person and you get to do that, use every single opportunity to just show up and really prove to people that you're in there seriously. Kasi ang daming mga tao, especially sa fan base, who are saying na parang, especially dun sa, if you're unconventional, yung looks mo are not the typical beauty queen looks. Sometimes people would say, ano ba yan, pambaranggayan, blah, blah, blah. Eh, sino ba sila to say kung ano yung limit ng pangarap mo, diba? So, yeah.
Kebs to the world.
Show up, Kebs to the world, show that confidence.
Yes, per. So now, kunwari na umabot sila ng top 100, napili na sila. So what happens after that?
So, after the application process, makakat tayo to the official candidates. The official candidates are gonna be part of the actual pageant. Yun yung may contract. Now, something that I wish I knew was, kailangan wala kang contracts na ongoing. It's a big deal because when you're working, you kind of have to put that in the
Pause
back.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to pause whatever commitments you have because when you join a pageant, it's like 100% your commitment is there. So that's why beauty queens talaga sacrifice a lot because you need to be there for events, you need to be there for shoots. And for example, merong mga bagay na conflicting. Let's say you're working for a skincare brand, tapos there's a different skincare sponsor. Mag-aano yun,
Ka-clash.
mag-conflict yun. So, yung mga ganun, dapat before you even join, maplakado mo na. You're able to get out of those contracts or you're able to 100% commit to the pageant that you're joining. Kasi pati yung trabaho mo will be affected.
Right. So in your context before, kasi ang bread and butter mo is content creation. Ganon. So everything needed to pause to make way for the pageantry. And kunwari, mga artistas, it has to pause also.
Yeah, oo, more or less because the thing is, you represent the organization, you
Okay.
represent the pageant itself. So, for example, there are sponsors. After all, it is still a business. So, you need to be there for all the sponsored shoots. And this is not like a secret, but I think it's more of industry knowledge. Na as a fan, I didn't know before because as a fan, I only watched the end product, yung mga OOTD, yun lang yung nakikita ko eh. Pero, under everything, like, syempre, kailangan pa rin kumita. Kailangan pa rin masustain yung business model ng pageantry. Whether it's the Miss Universe org, the international one, or the local one, kailangan kumikita pa rin. So, that's one of the ways that pageants make money is to get sponsors. So, isa yun sa mga kailangan people need to take into consideration.
Right, if they're applying. And now, di ba nasa top 100 ka na, how does the training look like? Is it everyday na may pasarela training or photography, mga ganon? What can they expect, kung baga, sa training?
Well, actually, so, sorry, I have to correct that. Sa top 30 kami nagkaroon ng contract. But top 100, parang medyo virtual pa lahat nun eh. Pero things are different now because everything is kind of going back to normal. So anyway, ayun. As for the training, ideally, you should be training before you even start.
Pero ikaw,
Di ako training.
tsaka kasi biglaan lang talaga nun, di ba?
Yeah, parang I was like, so I submitted kasi as soon as they announced na walang height requirement. So as in the same day, hindi ko pinag-isipan, wala akong kinonsult. I was just like, submit? Kasi it was just an email. So,
Yeah.
nag-submit ako agad. But then, since nag-submit ako, dapat nag-prepare na rin ako. But I didn't. So what happened was, I only started preparing when I got into the top 100. Pero if you wanna join pageantry, I would say, join a camp, get in touch with either Aces and Queens, Kagandang Flores, there is TCI, the Crown Initiative, there's also the camp. There are many camps in the Philippines, mga local teams as well. In your province, baka meron kayong local team. Get in touch with those people and ask for advice kung paano mag-train for a pageant. Like, let's say you want to join maybe a local pageant first, yung sa province yung muna, you can start there. You can also start with training your runway, your pasarela. Or if you want to I think if you're a beginner, the best way to go about it is to join a camp because if you join a camp, you get access to a lot of connections in the industry, you get professional help. But if you have naman the resources, you could also hire coaches. And hiring coaches, of course, is an investment, but it's also good because you get to really dictate how your training will go. So as for me, syempre, medyo confident ako sa Q&A ko because yun lang naman yung
It's Teacher Ayin, di
yun
ba?
yung pinaka-ano ko eh, alas ko, I would say. And it's not because I'm naturally good at that. It's just because yun lang yung pwede ko gawin the whole time. Like, the whole time I was dreaming to become a beauty queen. I mean, what use would I have for pasarela? Wala naman akong magagamitan ng pasarela kasi I'm 5'3". Hindi naman normal maging model, 'di ba? So, it was never in the cards for me at that time. And then, Q&A lang, yun yung na-enjoy ko talaga panoorin. So, what I would do is I would go on YouTube and search for compilations of beauty queen Q&As. Tapos, maririnig ko yung question, I'll pause the video, I'll answer it, and then I'll play it again, tapos maririnig yung answer ng beauty queen. And I evaluate myself, did I do better or did I do worse? And that's kind of how I've been training.
Ooh, that's
then-
interesting.
Yeah, ganun lang ako nagtitrain. And then I would ask myself questions. I would like randomize, mga ganun, as in DIY. But then, of course, I got the help. Eventually, closer to the date, I got help from Kagandahang Flores, which was my camp when I joined in 2021. Tapos, I got to train with the girls and yeah, mostly that. Ang hinabol ko talaga was pasarela. So I would train.
Yun yung nakaganan kay lahat.
Yeah, yung duck walk, yung ganon.
So that's called the duck walk.
It's called the duck walk.
So, para saan yun?
It's meant to strengthen your legs because you have to stand up for long periods of time. Naka-heels pa.
Yeah.
Pero honestly, I've been working out for so long at that
Right.
point
Oo.
na hindi ko kailangan talaga ng magpa-strengthen ng legs because I'm all legs. So, puro legs
I
talaga
love
yung
your
ano ko.
legs, by the
Thank you
way.
so much.
Strong. Very
Very, very thick thighs. So, okay naman ako in that department. For me, what I really needed to figure out was my rhythm and like the posture of how it is to be a beauty queen because it's like, oh my gosh, ibang level siya talaga.
Yeah, kasi iba-iba talaga nakikita ko as in ganda ng posture talaga even with the yung yung pose
Yung
na
projection,
ganito, iba.
the projection, you need to train it. The transition of face. Like, for example, when you smile and then you switch your face to fierce, yun, pinapractice yun. So, nakatitig ka lang sa sarili mo sa salamin and then you're just like, nah, smile and then fierce. And then smile, fierce. Pinapractice mo yung eye contact mo, pinapractice mo yung tindig mo, pinapractice mo yung the way that you would shift your weight pag nakapose ka. Kasi, syempre, mangangalay ka. Now, how do you change that?
Tsaka kapag kunwari on your left yung weight, parang iba yung itsura ng body mo. Kapag sa right naman, iba rin yung itsura ng body mo. So,
Super grabe talaga. And the thing is, what I learned, like, at the end, towards the end, na parang ako, oh my gosh, girls have routines. The candidates have routines na how they turn, how they ganyan. Pinapractice nila yung whole routine. And I thought it was like, whatever you feel at the moment. Hindi ko na-realize na, oh, this is something that they've been rehearsing the whole time. Tapos parang, ano ba yan?
there's so much science behind it.
Yeah, it's an art. It's a beautiful, beautiful art. And yun nga eh, that's why I always think back na parang, shucks, if I had more time, ano kaya yung performance ko? Kasi honestly, like, I could do so much more. I feel like I could have done so much more. It's just that, hindi ako nag-prepare. Ganun talaga.
Oh, well.
Yeah, pero ang dami ko natutunan and bilib na bilib ako dun sa mga full-fledged beauty queens.
Grabe. Kasi, yun nga, iniisip ko ang daming dedication, ang daming oras, ang daming financial resources. Kasi, di ba, yung mga gowns, yung mga photography, yung mga studios, you pay for it, right?
Yes.
Or yung iba din is ex-deal collaborations, mga ganun.
I was very lucky that I had TikTok going for me because a lot of people wanted to work with me and collaborate with me. And I think it was one of the privileges that I was able to have that helped me move forward in the competition. Because otherwise, I don't know if the same results yung makukuha ko. Because a lot of photographers, a lot of makeup artists were able to reach out to me, designers even, and daming nag-sponsor sa akin. So, on that end, I was very lucky because otherwise, I don't know kung paano ko ma-afford to be able to rent all those gowns, to be able to get any of those done. Like, super duper lucky that I was able to connect with so many people who helped me. Kasi, for a lot of girls, talagang pag-iipunan mo yan eh. If halimbawa walang willing to sponsor you, then you're gonna have to do it yourself. So ayun, it really
Right.
takes a lot.
Tsaka with the challenges di ba parang every week ba or every day may different photo challenge kayo na parang, oh my gosh, paano ba ito nagagawa nila na biglang meron na agad pagtingin ng photo, bongga, ganun.
Our pageant kasi was a very unique one in the sense na it was during lockdown. So we had to do a lot of this by ourselves. But typically, the pageant itself would be sponsoring photo shoots. It would be usually before the lockdown. Parang parehas lang for everyone. But because of social media and the lockdown, iba-iba na talaga ngayon. And with us, we had to do it ourselves. Like a lot of our photo shoots, sariling sikap or sariling TM because nauso yung pasabog sa social media. So parang sarili kang gimmick mo, sarili mong whatever your concept is, it's one of the ways that you now present yourself to the pageant community. Kasi before, it was just the stage. It was just you show up during the pageant events. Pero ngayon, you have social media. So ako talaga, like, I feel like it was a great thing that I was able to join Miss Universe during this time. Na talagang social media because otherwise, mahirap eh.
I remember nagpupuyat tayong lahat for a live para sa mga voting.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, oo. Hindi, yung ano, yung nagpupuyat, that was the following year. That
Yung
was
nag-host ka.
nag-host naman
Mali
ako.
pala yung memory ko.
Oo, iba na naman yung nilaban ko noon. That
Ah,
time, I was trying to get the hosting gig backstage
Okay.
at Miss Universe. But the year before that, we also had votings app naman. Ganun. Ang hirap talaga. Ang dami talagang ganap nun. But at the same time, weirdly enough, I didn't want to win yung voting because a lot of people told, of course, like the assumption, and I completely understand the assumption na I only quote unquote got in because of my social media following. That's why I really didn't want to win via votes because ayokong makapasok and people to think na I was only there because my social media following got me there. So nung towards the top 30 announcement, kasi may 3 slots that were given to the top 3 voted. Wala ako sa top 3 voted. And I was
Sino kayo
so
dyan?
happy. I was so happy because parang for me, that was like a redemption na, oh, nakapasok ako kahit ako lang. And swertihan din. So like, I would never deny the privilege that TikTok gave me, social media gave me. And happy ako because at the very least, I was able to prove myself, especially during the last challenge. Kasi interview challenge yun eh. So, ayun. So, yun yung one of the things na pinanghahawakan ko talaga na I earned my spot.
Totoo, totoo. How about the things that you enjoyed naman sa MUP? Yung fun, yung oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here, mga ganon. Ano yung mga fun moments mo?
Oh my gosh, sobrang saya because our coronation night was in Bohol. Tapos our pre-pageant activities were in Clark. So imagine, una sa lahat, when we got into the bubble, nandun kami sa Clark. We were hosted in this beautiful hotel. Tapos all of our activities were done sa hotel. Tapos our preliminary competition was in an airport. Sobrang ganda. And it was so amazing na parang to be part of that unique edition of the pageant. It was really nice na we got to experience that. So really grateful to the organization because that was a unique experience for us girls. Tapos, I think we were a lot closer too because naka-bubble kami. Tapos after nun, nagbohol kami. Oh my gosh. Pool, beach. Tapos we even got to stay afterwards. Well, at least ako kasi nag-extend ako eh. So ayun, sobrang enjoy ko yung time na yun.
I love it. Sisterhood talaga, no?
Oo. And ewan ko, parang swerte din ako sa batch ko because I didn't feel na parang nagsasapawan kami.
Yun nga yung sunod kong question eh. Kung meron bang inggitan, sapawan, gupitan ng gown, mga ganon.
Yeah, kasi may ganun mga stories talaga. Oo, may mga ganun ako naririnig na horror stories before. Pero swerte ko talaga sa batch ko because wala, chill lang kami. Parang wala, pagod lang kami. We just
Pagod lang.
wanted to remove the heels, ganyan. As in, sobrang, it was so simple, the whole experience in terms of our relationship with each other. Parang, wala, enjoy lang kami. Nagti-TikTok lang kami, nag-explore lang kami ng Bohol. We would just ay, ito pa si Princess, she taught me how to pose for my swimsuit. Like, imagine the hair flip that I would forever remember. And forever, I would save that and always play that video when I did my hair flip sa swimsuit competition. It was Princess. It was Princess who did that. And super duper proud ako because tinuruan niya ako. And it didn't feel like
I-gatekeep ko to. Ganon.
oo.
Walang gatekeepan.
Kasi
ganon.
pinanood niya ako during rehearsal backstage and she was like, masyadong kita yung likod mo, so you need to do this instead. So I followed her advice and it was so good. So I was really, really happy about
It
that.
was iconic.
Thank you. I
The
tried.
Ayin hair flip. I love
I
it.
think most of that was extensions. Ang klipa ng buhok ko na yun.
Ayun, madam. Meron akong medyo sensitive question for you. Did you ever regret not advancing sa top 16? Na hindi ka nakahawak ng mic?
Yung from top 16 to top 10. I guess advancing to the top 10, the more that I think about it, the more I think about what I could have done better. But at the same time, wala na naman akong magagawa because what I knew then was all that I knew then. Pero ngayon, syempre, I know so much more. Mas marami na akong connections, mas marami na akong resources, mas may time ako to train. So, alam ko na I could have done better sa preliminaries if I had done a good job sa preliminaries, like sa pasarela ko, during swimsuit preliminaries, sa evening gown preliminaries. If I was vocal about like my choices, for example, yung hair ko doon, if maybe if I went with the original hair that I wanted, maybe it could have been better. But again, I all charge it to experience. When I think about that, I don't think about it as something I regret because I did what I could at the time. But that's why I always say na pagka binago nila age limit, I'd be like,
Eto na.
maybe I'd go back. I do want to go back because I I want to be able to compete on my own terms with the knowledge that I have now. Because I feel like at the time medyo dehado ako because I was never slated to be a beauty queen at 5'3". It wasn't like a possibility for me, so I never had the chance to try. I never had the chance to really invest in my skills. So if ever given the opportunity to compete again, I would because I know I could give so much more. So who knows, like maybe one day I can hold the mic again or hold the mic for the first time. So yeah, that's just something that at the back of my head. I will never stop fantasizing about that because as a beauty pageant fan and as a candidate and somebody who's very passionate about pageantry, like wala, may isip pa talaga yun. Like, how would it look like if you could do your best?
Totoo. Actually, ang dami kong takeaways from this episode, madam, na everything is all about preparation.
Oh, it is.
And it's not just with finances. It should be with your mental health, physical. Kasi yung mga trainings every day, lahat ng mga kailangan mong gawin towards the pageant, yung are you ready mentally if pumasok ka? And are you also ready if hindi ka nakapasok?
Yeah. And even madam ha, like styling. Styling was such a difficult thing for me because wala akong stylist. And apparently, that's one of the things that you need in the pageant. Like, you need a stylist for everyday OOTDs because how you show up during everyday pageant activities, a lot of it depends on how you feel, how confident you feel. And because it's such a fashion and style centric thing, pagka hindi ka confident sa suot mo, it will translate. And I've really felt that way, especially nung nandun kami sa Clark. Kasi parang medyo hindi ako handa dun sa kung gaano kabongga yung mga sisters ko. Nakakaloka yung mga outfitan nila, naka-gown ng breakfast. Tapos parang, alam mo madam, I was so anxious about it nung, kasi nga wala akong stylist, di ba? Ayokong bumaba ng breakfast because natatakot ako mapicturan
Oh, yeah.
nang hindi ako, naka-dress up.
Nakahanda at
N- Oo.
naka-makeup.
Tsaka hindi ako, parang hindi naka-level yung styling ko. And I was acutely aware of that. But I was so grateful because yung in-house stylists, they noticed that I was struggling with my outfits. So si Gerald and si Rick, they helped me with my clothes. So one day, Rick reached out to me. Sabi niya, Ayan, like, do you need help with like some of your clothes? Ganyan. I was like, yes, please, I need help. And he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Daan ka sa room namin later. Daan ko, they were like, pick. Parang, oh my gosh,
Thank
parang fairy
you.
godmother moment. And it felt like a Cinderella moment. Kasi kinakabahan talaga ako. Kasi madam, a lot of the clothes that I brought, I had some outfits that were pinahiram sa akin ni Carl, pinahiram sa akin ng House of Enchante. Dalawang designer na nagpahiram sa akin ng everyday outfits. Tapos the rest, I bought from Zalora. Like, sariling bili ko.
Sariling sikap lahat.
Sariling
style.
shopping. Eh, hindi naman ako, especially at that time, hindi naman ako ganun ka-fashion. Like, I'm better now. Because obviously, I learned from that experience. Pero ayun, yung interview outfit ko, pinahiram lang yun sa akin ni Rick. So, super grateful ako because na-affect talaga ng lack of preparation ko how I would show up to like everyday activities. And sometimes the everyday activities are equally as important as the preliminaries. Alam mo yun? So when you look at Catriona's Miss Universe journey, makita mo how prepared she is. Every single day, every single outfit has been thought so yeah, super well done, super well thought out. And that's the kind of beauty queen that you want representing the Philippines, you know?
Correct.
So, ayun. Ang dami ko lang natutunan talaga in terms of like styling, preparation, iba.
I've always been amazed and alam mo yun, yung disiplina pa lang yung paggising mo everyday, yung pag dapat marunong ka mag-makeup kung wala kang makeup artist, 'di ba? I remember you telling me na tinuturuan ka pa sa Zoom ng
Yeah.
makeup artist mo. So,
Nag-video
iba
call kami
talaga.
at 5 a.m.
Iba
Yung mga
talaga
bola.
ang pageantry, and hindi lang siya yung talagang post kasi it's physical, mental, financial.
Ang hirap
It's
niya.
everything talaga. It's the whole package na, alam mo yung stress na stress ka backstage, but then, dapat paka ka kapag rumampa ka na. And it's not easy at all. Madam, top 3 lessons
Top 3
para
lessons.
sa ating mga pageantera out there.
Okay, number one, surround yourself with good people because pageantry is an industry that's highly critical of the women that join. The fan base, the community, it can have a lot of people who will tell you to do this, to do that, to change, to blah, blah, blah. But if you surround yourself with good people, if you have a good support system, you'll come out of it unscathed and feeling better about yourself. So you'll really reap the benefits of pageantry if you have good people around you. Number two lesson would be to prepare. Ha! As impulsive as I was and as amazing as the journey was, I still think that it would have been better kung I actually prepared and if I actually did my research because I mean, I guess I prepared my Q&A skills. I prepared to some extent, but it was not enough. And if you really want to have no regrets, prepare. Give yourself time to prepare. Pero ngayon na, wala nang height requirement, medyo better na yung age limit. So, yung mga aspirants natin, you might have more time to prepare. And lastly, don't be afraid to tell your story because I think one of my strengths as a beauty queen at that time, and this was something that I heard that was told to me by some people from the org, and it really stuck with me. It was sabi nila from their perspective. It was like my ability to share my story and make people care.
Yeah.
And that's not something that is easy to do. And honestly, for me, it's because I'm an oversharer. I like to share a lot of my experiences. I'm quite vulnerable online. I like to share a lot of the behind the scenes. And if, for example, when I was being bullied, I didn't take that lightly. I was like, no, not today. I was really vocal about a lot of these things. And I think that is a strength because at the end of the day, you are human. You want people to root for you, to care about you and your journey as well. Because when you join a pageant, you're not just joining as yourself, you're joining representing the people who feel represented by you. And to me, it was like a lot of young Filipinas. And if I took the bullying lightly and if I took that and kept quiet with it, it was like allowing these bullies to bully other girls like me. And I was just not having it. And I think it's something that you can do, especially now that we are moving towards a new era of Miss Universe and pageantry in general. We now have more queens, advocates who are outspoken, and we're really looking for leaders. I think if you are outspoken, you share your story, you share your causes, and are really, really vocal about these things, I think it will take you places. So hopefully, even if, let's say, I don't get to do it again, I would love to mentor aspiring beauty queens one day. I really want to do that kasi ang dami ko natutunan na I think would be so helpful for the next generation of Filipino beauty queens.
For sure, for sure. And thank you so much for representing every single Filipina out there na, alam mo yun, na-bully and, alam mo yun.
You'd be surprised.
Always,
Literally, even the most beautiful, most conventionally beautiful ones, they get bullied. So,
diba? It's just a projection of their insecurities,
Truly.
TBH. And oh my gosh, this is such an enlightening episode, madam.
Thank
Lalong-lalo
you.
na for sure sa mga gustong mag-apply, mga aspirants natin with the pageantry. And there you go. I hope you learned a thing or two from us. From Madam Ayin, of course.
congratulations on your hosting stint. Interviewer yarn?
Wala nga tayong fast talk, sayang. Medyo. Pero yun, thank you so much, Madam Ayin, as always. Always inspiring. And of course, mga madam, if may natutunan kayo and if you felt that this episode was valuable for you, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you're watching on Spotify, minimum 5 stars, mga madam, ha. And please follow us on all our socials. That's at Camp Confidence Radio, at Rizza Lana, at Ayin Bernos. And thank you again so much. We will see you on the next one.
Bye.